Hi students, I am Dr. Anurag Agarwal and this is OSN Academy for UPSC English Literature past 26 years. Today, I welcome all my UPSC aspirants from the entire country, the UGC NET aspirants and all the aspirants who wish to study that what is UPSC, what is English Literature, how you have to write answers and attend this entire session till the end. Why? Because it is one of the most important sessions for every aspirant. The reason is that they don't know that what is the difference between the MA English or the BA English or writing the answers in the UPSC. With my experience of 26 years of teaching IAS UPSC, it is actually very important to understand the approach of writing the answers. So here today, I will try my best to make you understand that even if you are a very good scholar in English, you may be having a very good approach in writing answers, but if you are missing the UPSC approach, the targeted words, the words which can fetch you good marks, then only you are able to qualify the UPSC Optionals English. And believe me, it is my passion, it is my dream to make you qualify UPSC in the first attempt, which I have been doing with my students. The students pan-India have seen how my students have qualified first attempt only by following the path of success, and the path of success is only when you are hardworking, when you have the perseverance, when you have the respect for your teacher that yes, this is the place where I have to bank upon and yes, I will follow sir. So with all these, I would also like to tell here that the new batch has already begun few days before. Students are welcome so that they may be able to scale up their level for the next sessions. And before I start, I would just say that the thumb rule for qualifying the UPSC is that you have to prepare, you have to command your literature much before you qualify the pre. And if you do the vice versa, it is quite possible that you may qualify pre, but you are not able to qualify mains. And I have many examples. यहाँ पे उतना समय नहीं होता है students. Otherwise, I can share the names and the things that how the students could miss their mains only because they kept on studying the pre and they did not go for the mains preparation properly. So don't do this, students, if you really wish to challenge this exam. Now, jaldi bachcho live aa jaiye. And before I start, I would just like to tell you the optional books. The new edition has been launched. And what is the difference between the new edition and the old edition? See, these are the new edition books. This is the history of English literature. The new edition, all the books are new. And yes, the most important things, students, before I start this session is that in the entire syllabus, now you are going to get the special books with question and answers. Every topic has a question and the answer which was very much needed by the students of UPSC. Ab unki preparation will be much better because they will be able to perceive, they will be able to understand that how sir has written the question and how sir has answered it beautifully with that UPSC approach. Fine. Any questions you may ask me, my dear students. अपना नाम जरूर से comment box में लिखिए कि सर मैं यहाँ पे present हूँ and this is my concern and I am an UPSC aspirant or I am a NET aspirant, because this session is going to help every student of English literature. Now, the question which I have taken today is, and before I start, I would just say that the classes, the study material, the test series, question and answers, the practice writing, so many students, they are joining, daily they are joining because they want to speed up, they want to check their marks, and they want to be having a mentor who can specialize them, who can make them understand that kahan pe kya kami hai, kahan pe kya cheez miss ho rahi hai, and this is how they study. Now, the question which I have taken is about the Tempest. Tempest, जो आप thumbnail में भी देख रहे होंगे, that the vogue of tragic comedy in the years of the 17th century. सबसे पहले अगर क्वेश्चन पूछा जा रहा है द टेम्पेस्ट एज अ tragi-comedy. Now, when I am going to teach you this question, this answer, you will not believe. You will have a complete scenario of understanding so many things, that what words sir is using, how sir is using the phrases, how he is blending his sentences, and you will understand the difference between what you have been thinking, between what you have been writing, and what is the actual approach. Good morning. I am new to your class. I like your pronunciation. I'll follow your class. Dear, because your name is written in some Telugu or Kannada or Karnataka. So yeah, I am Prabhu. So Prabhu, you can even tell about that which exam you are preparing for. So this question, the Tempest as a tragi-comedy, everybody must have studied Tempest. But how you have to start this question in the UPSC level, I will try to answer this in my own language, in my own experience and periphery of my brain and subconscious. See, the first term which you have going to explain, tragi-comedy, the examiner would like to know from you that the student, is he able or is she able to tell what is a tragi-comedy? So the very first word or the very first sentence would be a tragi-comedy is, by its very name, जैसा कि ये नाम दिखा रहा है, a mixture, a blend of tragic and comic elements. This should be written in one line. Not you have to write much. Everything has to be precise. Everything has to be cut and paste, means you have to have the less space. You have to write the minimum words. No beating about the bush. I'm again repeating it. A tragi-comedy is, by its very name, a mixture of tragic and comic elements. It is a blend of, it is a fusion of any term you can write. And yes, it is an accepted fact. ये मान लिया गया है that Shakespeare's writing took a new direction. When Shakespeare came into existence, when Shakespeare started writing, उसके जो works थे, that was actually in a different direction. And when he turned into tragedy, to the mode of tragi-comedy in the play that is Pericles. See how in the very first line and then the second line, I am trying to mix, trying to tell the examiner about my intellectual property, about my knowledge. And yes, he will be very happy when the first line I told that it is a blend of tragic and comic elements, and it is an accepted fact that Shakespeare's writing took a new direction when he turned from tragedy to the mode of tragic comedy in the play Pericles and the other romances. And what are those romances? You can write in single word, that is Cymbeline, that is the Winter's Tale, and even that is the Tempest. You can write it Cymbeline, the Winter's Tale, and the Tempest. In this way, you are telling the examiner that yes, you have the knowledge of the names also. Fine. Now, Shakespeare ने क्या किया? Shakespeare changed his style of writing plays because changes in theatrical taste were taking place in the first decade of the 17th century. And Shakespeare, in changing the tone and the style of his plays, was actually responding to those changes in the taste of the audience. कि जैसा taste audience का था, in the same taste Shakespeare was trying to fuse, Shakespeare was trying to make the audience understand his concept and his English. I have been preparing for UPSC, sir. क्या लिखा है इन्होंने? I am often forgetting the data and vocabularies, sometimes spelling even. Prabhu, you are lucky enough today that you have got OSN Academy today, and I have been teaching UPSC past 25 years. So you can take the number on the screen or below and contact us from the WhatsApp, so that if you are preparing for UPSC, you can connect with us and do whatever you wish like exactly. Fine. Now, see. यहां तक बताने के बाद अब आप बताएंगे टेम्पेस्ट में how it is a tragic comedy. You will tell that yes, it is a mixture of sad and amusing elements in the opening scene. अगर आपको याद हो, if you remember students, the opening scene of the Tempest, the opening scene has some mixture of blending of sad elements, amusing elements, and you have to integrate, you have to write, you have to tell the examiner that you are knowing those things. Now, what you can write is that throughout the play, tragic events are quickly followed. And how they are followed? They are followed by amusing situations. And that amazing situation quickly gives way to serious and sometimes sad happenings. There are many scenes, there are certain scenes. We find the serious and the sad elements or the sad events, they are blending. They are actually getting fused with the amusing elements. And it is actually understood that in the opening scene, जब सीन खुलता है टेम्पेस्ट का, we witness a ship. हम लोग क्या देखते हैं? एक शिप देखते हैं. And that ship is being tossed by the sea waves. समुद्र की लहरों की वजह से वो टॉस कर रहा है क्योंकि एक बहुत ही जबरदस्त तूफान आ गया है. Because a furious storm is blowing. And because of that, the ship is threatened. For what? It is threatened with destruction. And the passengers, they are finding themselves with an impending catastrophe. बहुत ही जबरदस्त जो है भय है, डिस्ट्रक्शन का है, कैटास्ट्रॉफी की फीलिंग इस समय आ रही है. एंड यस, इट इज अ सीन विच वुड नॉर्मली सैडन अस. हमें दुखी कर सकता है, लेकिन इतने सारे डेंजर्स और एंजाइटी के बीच में, इन द मिड्स्ट ऑफ द डेंजर एंड द एंजाइटी, वी फाइंड गोंजालो. हमें गोंजालो इन सभी एंजाइटी और डर और डिस्ट्रैक्शन के बीच में, वी फाइंड गोंजालो मेकिंग रिमार्क्स विच ग्रेटली अम्यूज अस. वो जो रिमार्क्स करता है उससे हमें अम्यूजमेंट होता है, उससे हमें ह्यूमर आता है. एंड दैट इज कॉल्ड द ट्रैजिक कॉमिक एलिमेंट्स प्रेजेंटेड इन द टेम्पेस्ट. सो इन शॉर्ट वर्ड्स, हाउ यू आर ब्लेंडिंग your knowledge in few words. This is called the UPSC approach. And that is why today I have taken such an important question which will make many of you students accountable to understand that yes, it is written without beating about the bush. Now, second point which comes to my mind is the sadness of Prospero's account of his past misfortunes. अगर आपको पढ़ा हो आपने ठीक से, तो प्रॉस्पेरो के जो अकाउंट है, उसकी जो पिछली जो मिसफॉर्च्यून है, उसका दुख. अब नाउ यहां पे भी देखिए किस प्रकार से चीजें जो हैं वो फ्यूज होती हैं ट्रैजिक कॉमिक एलिमेंट्स में. एंड द सीन विच फॉलोज, जो आगे आता है, इट इज एक्चुअली रेप्लेट और फुल ऑफ सैडनेस. बिकॉज हियर प्रॉस्पेरो गिव्स हिज डॉटर, यहां पे प्रॉस्पेरो अपने बच्ची को क्या देता है? ही गिव्स हिज डॉटर अ डिटेल्ड अकाउंट ऑफ द मिसफॉर्च्यून्स which he and she had experienced as a consequence of the perfidy of his brother Antonio, who had been abated by King Alonso and Sebastian. Fine. तो ऐसा हुआ था जो आपने स्टोरी में देखा होगा. देन इसके बाद क्या होता है? देन फॉलोज प्रॉस्पेरोज रिमाइंडर टू एरियल of the suffering to which Ariel had been subjected by the witch. And what is the name of that witch? Sycorax. Yes. And this is again followed by an ugly situation. एक बहुत ही खराब सिचुएशन आ जाती है फिर से, in which Caliban speaks to Prospero. Caliban speaks to Prospero. He speaks to Prospero in an very insolent and insulating manner. यद्यपि कि in spite of all this sadness is soon afterwards relieved. ये खत्म हो जाता है by Ferdinand falling in love with Miranda. Ferdinand falling in love with Miranda. लव का हमने साइन बना दिया है, शायद आप लोग लव का साइन को समझेंगे ज़्यादा. सो बहुत ज़्यादा वहाँ पे रिलीफ मिलती है जब देखा गया कि फर्डिनेंड इज फॉलिंग इन लव विद मिरिंडा, एंड दैट मिरिंडा हु फुल्ली reciprocates his love, and she is reciprocating the love to Ferdinand, and there is thus an atmosphere of sadness. अगर हम एक्ट 1 सीन 2 की बात करें तो उस सीन में एक सैडनेस का एक माहौल बन जाता है. दो दिस सैडनेस इज ग्रेटली डिमिनिश्ड, ये बहुत कम हो जाता है बाय अ रोमांटिक डेवलपमेंट. लेकिन ये जो गंभीरता है, ये जो दुख है, ये बहुत कम होता चला जाता है जब यहाँ पे देखा जाता है एक रोमांटिक डेवलपमेंट हो रहा है. अगेन in this lecture, in this place, I have tried to take you the analysis of the tragic comedy of the play Tempest, which the UPSC examiners would like to make you write like this. Understood? Now, the third point which I wish to discuss here in this question is a mixture of sorrow and mirth, and that is Act 2, Scene 1. If you remember, Act 2, Scene 1. Just go to this Act 2, Scene 1. What is this act or this scene tells us? It is actually a blend of sorrow and mirth. And you open the Act 2. Act 2 जब open करता है, that is with the Alonso sadness. आपको दिखाई पड़ेगा कि Alonso जो है बहुत गंभीर है, बहुत दुखी है. And why he is sad? Over the supposed death of his son Ferdinand. Besides, throughout this scene, you will find a vein of comedy running. हल्की सी उसके अंदर कॉमेडी की भी वेन रन कर रही है. Antonio and Sebastian, they actually continue to make sarcastic remarks. वो continuous sarcastic remarks देते रहते हैं. किसके बारे में? About Gonzalo के बारे में. And Gonzalo hits back at them. Gonzalo's description of his ideal commonwealth is a piece of comedy because क्या कह सकते हैं इसको, because of its उसके बेकूफी के वजह से, उसके एब्सर्डिटी के वजह से. लेकिन एक सीरियस नोट भी इंट्रोड्यूस किया जाता है इनटू द सीन जब एंटोनियो प्रिवेल्स अपॉन सेबेस्टियन टू अग्री to the assassination of Alonso and Gonzalo. तो यहाँ पे एक again you will find a serious note. So again it is a fusion of blending of humor with pathos, humor with tragedy. इसके बाद ही आपको एक कॉमिक सीन दिखाई पड़ेगा, एक कॉमिक कैरेक्टर दिखाई पड़ेगा नेक्स्ट सीन में. And what is that? That scene is actually कॉमिक. यहाँ पे इस सीन में क्या होता है, आपने नाम सुना होगा ट्रिंक्यूलो. Trinculo. You will find Trinculo and Stephano. They come upon Caliban, who seems to be a monster of the island and who, after getting drunk, शराब पीने के बाद himself becomes a comic character. खुद ही कैरेक्टर अपना कॉमिक बना लेता है. In fact, the entire scene is farcical and most amusing through the comedy here is not refined or it is not intellectual. So here again, I have tried to tell the collaboration, the blending of the humor or the tragic or the comedic. Fine. So this is how this lecture goes on, and I am very much sure that this entire lecture, how to write the test, how to answer the question of the UPSC, the most important thing is the content, the understanding of the subject, the writing caliber, which gives you an analysis, the speediness, the time frame, and what words you are using, how you are blending with that, it all matters a lot. So when you have understood everything, then only you get good marks to make the examiner feel that yes, you have the knowledge and you have the capacity to understand the question and write it well. So this was all about. This is not the end even. We can discuss, I can speak much more about it. But here I think it is much more important for you students to understand that yes, how this preparation is made in a continuous proper direction with the test and answer writing, with the class, with the study material, with the question and answers, newly addition. So my dear students, I would again suggest you that if you are a dreamer for UPSC optional and to become an IAS officer or any state services of PCS with English literature as an optional, and if you feel that yes, it is the right destination for your betterment, for your upliftment, you can contact us on the given number. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Take care.